Hey guys, my name is Vaishnavi Kavirayani and welcome back to another video. Today with me is my friend.
Hi guys, I'm Shuchi. I'm currently doing my internship along with Vaishnavi.
In today's video, we'll be talking about our journey through step 1, the resources we used, how we use them, our timeline, and what are the few mistakes we made and how we would like to correct them. Hopefully, this video will be helpful to all of you and know how to go about the journey. So, let's get started.
So I will be sharing with you the resources that I used for my step 1 preparation. I started with first aid, then watched DNB videos. I used UWorld, Micro Sketchy, Pathoma videos as well as the book, USMLE RX question bank as well.
The resources I used, there's already a video made previously on the channel, but to specify, I used first aid in the beginning and then a few Pathoma videos and sketchy videos. I started UWorld pretty late. I did a few boards and beyond videos for biochem and biostatistics.
So I started using first aid in Jan, and I initially just read the book like a textbook, and I would annotate all the new things from BNB videos into my first aid.
I started using first aid around March of 2020. I used to read 10 pages a day or so and annotate at the same time from Pathoma into my first aid. So I did this for a couple of months, just reading through first aid, and I realized it was pretty volatile. That's when around May 2020, I took my first baseline NDME to understand where I stand on the spectrum, what are my strong or weak points. In my opinion, Pathoma is a very, very invaluable resource for step 1. I saw the Pathoma videos and Shuchi saw Pathoma videos and read the book. Dr. Hussain Sattar, he is a great teacher. I would highly recommend going through his videos. Annotate that into your first aid or annotate that into a notebook where you're probably taking down notes even from your UWorld, so you don't miss out on any information.
We would just like to stress on the importance of UWorld as a resource. After finishing an entire one pass of first aid as well as BNB videos, I decided to start doing UWorld questions. So initially I would do about a few questions per day, then I moved on to one block per day, and then finally I was doing about 2 to 3 blocks per day. So to finish the entire one pass of UWorld question bank, I took about 2 to 3 months. One other point that I would like to add is that I was trying to simulate the real exam. So for that I used to wake up every day by 6:30 and start the UWorld blocks by around 7:30 or 8, just to make sure I get the practice of using my mind that early in the morning, something which I'm really not used to.
For me, I took UWorld after taking my baseline NDME. I started doing around 40 questions a day, that is one block. I would do timed mode itself and random from the beginning, and I would really recommend that. I used to wake up in the morning at 6:30 and do 2 blocks continuously, probably with just a break of 5 minutes, and then sit to review my first block in the morning. It would take me like 3 to 4 hours in the beginning, actually more than that, maybe, to review one block properly. But I would really recommend going through every single line of UWorld explanations, and not just the educational objective or only the wrong questions, but it's also important to review your right questions to know that you've got it right for the correct reason.
So one misconception that everyone has is that the moment you start UWorld, you need to be scoring in the 80s or 90s. Whereas it's not true. All of us started at very low percentages. I did UWorld 2 passes plus my incorrect questions, which I really think helped me a lot in my exam.
Once you settle yourself into doing more than half the number of questions in the question bank in your first pass, you can now start concentrating, I feel, a little on your weak areas. For example, if you're weak in biostatistics, make sure you're going through videos of biostatistics and then doing questions related to biostatistics. That will help you strengthen those areas which are weak for you, and automatically, again, when you're doing timed random questions, you'll see that your percentage is automatically increasing because you've taken care of your weak points. After 3 or 4 practice NDMEs that I took, my score started shooting up, and that's when I knew that okay, I'm doing something right and my concepts are getting stronger, and I knew I was ready to take the test. A lot of people say that once you peak, in your scores, don't let that go away, so try to take the test around that time. So when my NBME started doing great, I took my UWorld self-assessment 1 and 2, and I did great in both of them as well, and that's when I knew that okay, I can go ahead and book my test.
So my experience was really different from Vaishnavi's. So I knew that I wanted to give my exam in third year, so I started the registration process and all pretty early. And I in fact booked my test date as well, which was a complete misjudgment. So as I started taking practice tests, I was not so satisfied with my score. And thankfully during COVID, rescheduling was not at a price, so I took full advantage of it. So after postponing it multiple times and taking almost all practice tests that were available, after getting scores around my goal score, I decided to take the test finally in October.
I personally feel there were a lot of mistakes that I made which I wish I could change. One being, I started UWorld very late into my preparation. I would highly recommend doing questions almost from the beginning itself. You don't need to finish, one entire pass of first aid and then start questions. Honestly, there's nothing you're going to remember from that book, reading it every single day, because it's such volatile information, right? It's a review book. I feel I didn't use any methods of active recall. Like I didn't use flashcards properly. I didn't, go back and revisit those topics which I did probably a week ago. And I wasn't able to retain all the information. I would highly recommend doing Anki or any flashcards for that matter. Another thing I feel I did wrong was if I did 3 blocks of UWorld on one day, I would keep the review of like maybe 1 or 2 blocks for the next day, and that would just keep getting postponed every single day, and I had a bunch of questions which I had never reviewed, and I feel that's really wrong, right? Because you're losing a lot of information which you could have got just by reviewing those questions. I highly recommend that you judge your capacity and do those many number of questions that day, and then finish reviewing them and then go on to the next one so that you don't repeat the same mistakes.
So one of the problems that I faced during my prep was that my scores in practice tests weren't improving for maybe a span of about 2 months, which is quite concerning, especially when your exam date is near. So what I identified was that at any given point, I wasn't able to remember all the information that was required for step 1. Like I would learn one thing and then forget something else. And I realized this was happening because I did not have any method of active recall. So especially the UWorld material that I was reviewing, I was writing it down in my first aid, and I wasn't going through my first aid that often. So I started making flashcards on UWorld, and especially now there are some new features which I really think that you guys should explore. So, make the UWorld content into something that you can use for active recall. So once I started doing that, I saw a sharp rise in my scores, and once that happened, I decided to finally take my test.
The only way I stayed sane was, set a proper routine. It's very important. You need to know when you're waking up in the day, for how long you're studying, then when you're taking your break, when you're having food, when is your socializing time, or when you spend time with your family or friends, and you should sleep at a particular time.
To add to that, I would also like to say that after every exam that I would take on a Sunday, I would, keep the rest of the day just to chill, enjoy, spend time with my friends and family, and do the other things that I love, even watch a movie, because it is really required to de-stress, because this journey is a long one. You need to run a marathon and not a sprint.
I would take every Monday off, because Sundays I would take a practice test, and Mondays I would just keep for relaxing, and then Tuesday onwards I would again continue the week. And also I would meditate pretty often.
And I would exercise occasionally in the evenings.
And actually both of us made sure to motivate each other throughout this journey. We would have study sessions through video call, at the same time like whine to each other about how bad this journey is. I think it's very important to have those set of people who are probably on the same path as you are, so that you can motivate each other to do better every single day. Even though step 1 is pass fail right now and not a 3-digit score anymore, I feel it's still important to have a strong base, because a lot of step 2 is based off of the concepts of step 1, and also the score to pass for step 1 is increased, and it's not extremely easy to get 200 plus. Make sure you give yourself at least 3 to 4 months of preparation for step 1.
For all of you who are watching this video and are preparing for step 1, we both wish you best of luck, and we hope that this video helps you in your journey.
So that's it for this video, guys. I hope it helped you and clarified whatever doubts you had. If you have any more questions, feel free to put it down in the comments below. It will benefit everybody else on the journey, and I will try my best to reply to as many as I can. I will get back with more USMLE content very soon.
What are you waiting for?